Hello, I'm the holy artist, Bjørn, and I'm going to tell you about the dream that I had. I'm sure thousands of years ago, this dream would be described as a meeting with an angel. Because after the dream, I was enlightened. I had an awakening, if you will. The dream is quite long. You can read the whole dream on my blog. But I'm going to start with, or just take the segment which is the most important part. I'm lost in a hotel, and I can't find my way back to the room. And then suddenly I meet this naked girl, and she jumps onto me, and she finds a way through my beard and thrusts her tongue down into my throat. I go all hard and stiff, and my cock slides into her. At first I worry, for I'm not wearing a condom. But then I realize that this is just a dream. So I thrust into her violently and fast, and we kiss passionately. A student from where I work watches us whilst we copulate. And he wants to touch her, and he asks me if it is okay. Well, I say, you will have to ask her. At first she is willing, but then she catches his gaze, and she is repulsed, and tells him so. I feel sorry for him, but I am not going to stop fucking this girl. I thrust myself into her fast, and I can see my penis going into her, in and out, quickly. It is an exhilarating experience, or feeling, if you will. My finger finds her anus, and it goes in there. There are some bits and bobs there, but I don't mind, and neither does she. And we continue on, falling onto the floor, like animals, beasts, let loose on each other. And then it's over. I come inside her violently, and I pull myself out. And the next day when I wake up, all that I have left of her is, you know, these little things that you put around key rings with information of what key this is. Well, in that little bit where you can put that information, she's written very small text, which is for me on both sides of this little keyring attachment. And I really want to read this text, but I cannot. I can't read it. Other ideas pop into my head. The girl, she became a porn star, and she had a little girl of 3 years old, or rather, she had a little girl, and I get this vision of the little baby girl at 3, and it might be mine, I don't know. But it's the text that I want to read. But then I wake up. So yeah, I wake up, basically it's 4 o'clock in the morning. It is the 9th to the 17th of May, which is Norwegian's national day, the day Norway became independent from Sweden. So quite significant for me, since I'm partially Norwegian. So it's very much about change, and then I start thinking. Well, you might be now asking, it's like, what message did you give? Well, the message, I guess, was in the text, but I couldn't read it. But there was an idea or realization that I had when I woke up, is that when I doodle, when I draw boxes, three-dimensional boxes, in different variations. Sometimes they're linked together in some sort of weird shape, or sometimes, very often, they're just a single shape. But it's always the constant thing that I am doodling. It's like there's something that's really wanting to tell me. And what I realize that these boxes, they are paradigms, or societies that sort of that we are put in. And as I said before, is that the role of the holy artist is to transcend and step outside of these boxes, to see what is outside of them. So the core thing about this venture is the box and stepping outside of it. I believe that yes, we do need one big box, if you will, so that we can function as a society. But that box must allow thousands and millions of smaller boxes again inside it, and of course outside of it. It's the outside of it that is most important. You have a transparent box, if you will, that is an overarching guideline for us as a society, because obviously we need to function together. But it's transparent, and that's the key thing. It's not confining, it's not defining. And then there's thousands and thousands of smaller boxes just in and outside of this one transparent box. And the transparent box has to be very transparent, very loose. It can't be very binding. It has to only have the minimum of requirements. And I think it's every individual's responsibility that at least once in their lifetime they try to step outside of their own box. Because, and this is the key thing, is that you might find yourself in a box, but no matter if it's inside or outside or whatnot, the thing is to be able to step outside it and look around. I think the key thing always goes back very, very much to Plato's cave thing. I very much see that these men who's inside his cave, the only thing that they see is the shadow of themselves. They don't see what we see, like the flesh and so forth. Only the shadow, the reflection. And this is the box that they are confined within. Whereas he steps outside of this box, and then has sunlight fall onto him, and he suddenly sees the world outside of the box that he previously was in. And he is so delighted about this revelation. that he runs back to his fellow companions inside the cave, but they do not want to know, so they kill him. And this is the thing, is that most people, I think, are scared of what is outside of the box. It's a very comfortable and secure place to be. And you know what is up and what is down, what is right and what is wrong. There's clear guidelines. And stepping outside of those clear guidelines is a very terrifying thing. But I think the key thing for us to evolve as human beings is the ability, or at least the acknowledgement, to try and step outside one's own box. And that is the role, I think, of an artist to help people with. To be able to step outside, to stimulate people and to inspire people to do so. The artist is very much a bit like the fool, if you will, but you have to understand that there's different kinds of fools. There's the natural fool, and then there's the licensed fool. One is born the fool, and in previous times this person was seen to have a connection to the divine, and his foolishness and his words were, even though they weren't able to understand them, he was speaking the words of the gods. Whilst the licensed fool is not a natural fool. He has his wits about him, but he tries to access the domain of the fool, to play the fool, to access the words of the divine. And if you will, the divine is ideas and thoughts outside of the box, not necessarily a deity or whatnot. And in past, there's been lots of different fools. There's been the trickster, there's been the jester, there's been the clown, and each one has in its time played an important part. But the problem is that when these fools become too connected to the society that they are in, that the society and that construct is supporting them, then they are starting to support that society. But the role of the fool is to be critical, to see outside of that. So these are the words that I speak. And these are the things that I wish to communicate to you through my practice as an artist. And this voice that is speaking to you now, this character, he's the medium, the direct medium, the clear physical words of what I'm trying to do. Because we have different characters, we have different personalities, and it's important to embrace them and explore these different characters. So right now you see me as the holy artist, but other times you will see me just as the artist, the pixel snatch artist, the one who's very eager to be able to spread his art out there. That's that character. And this character here is very eager to spread the word. these different characters are just fragments of who I am. There also may be extremes and things that I'm exploring. Roles that I'm taking on to see if they can help me access what I'm trying to achieve. And there's always been a red thread through my work. It's always been about a kind of breaking out or an escaping, or obviously about identity, but all these things are, I think, are very closely connected. Up until now, my main work's been photographic work from the Man series, which is now complete. And I'm very slowly trying to put together a book and out of these things, and that's the final bit of that. But things go slowly, because when you take on this journey that I've taken on, you're very often cast into doubt. And you wonder if you really are a complete fool, like the natural fool. And if what you're doing really has a true purpose or value. Particularly when one starts looking around oneself and at society and seeing what society actually currently values. Personally, I feel quite hopeless when I see what people value. But this is why I think it's even more important that I do not give up. And this is why I also think it's important that you support me by trying to also step outside of the box. That is, if you agree with what I'm saying, of course. You might be quite enjoying how society is today, and you might think that it's all perfect and this is how it should be. That may be so, but that is not going to help us transcend and develop as a species. And I think if we don't develop as a species, if we stagnate, then we will surely destroy ourselves. Yes. So you might be asking, what is wrong with society? And as I said, per se, there's nothing wrong. The problem is rather that I sense that this society is stagnating. It's the power is people in power are hardening their grip. The mold is becoming stronger, and the prison or the box that we're in is becoming well, it's definitely not transparent. Very cement, iron, granite, stone box that I think we are finding ourselves in. And it's the age of capitalism, and for capitalism to work, ideally it needs people to become more homogeneous, more alike. To have the same interest, because obviously that would reduce the production cost, that they can produce mass big things, and so forth. I don't think a diversity of interest is useful in such a capitalistic society, a pure one. That seems to be the direction that we are going. It's similar with what we've had before, where religion ruled the society, the church, where it had to bind people into that belief. And then obviously I think that belief, if you have a look at managed to have a very strong grip on society for a very long time, and causing very little development. And then we had a shift into our age, where science took over and capitalism. So we've changed boxes, if you will, but I feel that this box that we're now in is hardening very quick, and it's becoming really, really strong. And I think the minute people start to sense that this might be the case, then it's time for people to start thinking about breaking down the box, to make it weaker. I've been talking too long. I'm sure there's not many of you who's managed to watch this far. We haven't had any CGI effects or any grand explosions. I mean, no fancy stuff, just me rambling on with thoughts like a madman. And no quick cutting, just one static camera. How uncool, huh? But I am also inside this box, and I also need to survive. And it would be much appreciated if you help support me in this quest by going to pxsnatch.com and snatching a piece of artwork that I created. Obviously that costs something, costs minimum £1. But each time you snatch something, that involves that I need to spend 15 minutes supplying you with these goods. So if you pay £1, you are paying me £4 an hour to do what I do. And I think that's a good price, don't you? And on top of that, you're also getting something. You're getting an original piece of my work that only you have, and you have the puzzle to put it back together again, if that should so happen. And you can see this image as a box, if you will. Breaking down the box. Yeah. And then we can see what happens when you start putting, when we get to the stage where the whole box is broken down. When we, and you, who has generously snatched parts of the image, are invited to help me put it back together again. What will we get then? Will we recreate the box, or will we create something new? Something transparent. We shall see. Believe in yourself. Do everything that you can to transcend.